At present we're farming about 300 acres, and my family was there before I was, and we've been farming here for about 100 odd years. Before we went over to Brown Swiss, we were running a commercial herd of black and whites. Decision was taken about the time milk quotas came in, and we wanted to maximise the value of our milk sales by the Brown Swiss got higher protein to fat ratio. And we found them, since we've moved over to them, that they've been brilliant cattle to work with, quiet, easy to manage. And now, since we put the robots in, we're getting really getting impressive yields. Milk quality is running at about 4.2, 4.4% butter fat and 3.6 to 3.8 protein. They're very easy to manage. Most vets who come here to do the routine fertility work say they're very, very easy to look after. We find them exceptionally easy to calve, and longevity is famous, and legs and feet are very famous in the breed lot. Decided to go for robot when we got locked up again with TB, which is pretty rampant in this area. So rather than retiring as we were thinking, we decided we wanted a slightly easier lifestyle. So we invested the money into robotic milking, and since then it's opened my eyes to the full potential where we can now got so much, everything is monitored now, the amount of time they spend lying down, the amount of fertility, the activity levels, the yield, cows are fed to yield, and it's, I think it is a way forward. It gives me so much more excitement about watching the full potential of these cows, heifers doing 11,000 litres, doing over 40 litres a day. The cows are pushing 60 litres out, the best cows. So that is really, showing what the breed can do and what the robots can do, and they're working very well together. The last 2 years now, we've had our heifers out at grass in the summer, and we've used Cydectin LA, and it's found it to be very easy to use, a lot less labour in the summer, and for the last 2 summers we haven't lost a single animal with any worm disease. And what's important in our system of robotic milking, we need big powerful animals to come onto the system to cope with the cows, and because they don't have no worm stress, they really grow, and they're coming in with a lot of milk in them and a lot of size about them.
Well, when I first come here, sat down with Clive, and as part of our whole herd health plan, sat down with Clive, discussed issues he had with his heifers. In the past, he'd lost heifers to worm burden. He was on a 3/8/13 system of a pour-on. Found it wasn't working, so it was usually because of time it took to do it. The time he was doing it usually coincided with harvest time. So he's usually missing out on the pour-on. So I suggested using the Cydectin long-acting injection. Fitted in with his system beautifully. Also because once the cows are calved now, or the heifers get into calf and then they calve, due to now being on the machines, they wouldn't be out on grass again. So working beautifully with his system, and also we're under the firm belief, try and give the heifer the best start in life you can. Less worms, they put more weight on, they're healthier when they come into a milking herd, and they also get, contrary to belief, they do get their own natural immune response to the worms. So later on in life, less likely to get lungworm. Just helps overall health of the heifer when she comes into the herd.
We don't want any checks. We want heifers calving just over 2 years old, and with 600 kilos body weight, with the potential to do 30 to 40 litres, and that's what they're doing. And with the Brown Swiss, we've got a flat lactation curve, so we've got heifers now 300 days into milk, and they're still doing 35 litres a day.
Another benefit of Cydectin LA, because you don't have to handle the animals or worm them again during the season, is you don't get any drops in growth rate, because obviously they're protected throughout the season from worms. Whereas if you're using a strategic worming protocol, then obviously you are exposing the animals to some degree of challenge between worming doses. Therefore, you're going to have an effect on growth rate. And studies have shown with Cydectin LA that you can actually increase the growth rate by up to 33%.
Since using Cydectin LA, I'm very happy with the animals, the growth rate, and our vet commented that how well our heifers were coming off grass and how well grown they were this year, like, you know. We got the highest yielding brown Swiss heifers in the country, and I'm sure a lot of that is due with the size of the heifers when they calve down, and also the fact that they haven't had no worm damage.
And a lot of the research has shown that if you can get better growth rates early in your dairy calves and your dairy heifers, then they will get in calf earlier, and then you can calve down at 24 months, which is recommended by Dairy Co. And that calving down at 24 months means a quicker payback on your investment in your heifer, and also more milk yield throughout the lifetime of that heifer.
Every single drop of milk is recorded on the robots, so we can monitor the daily performance of the cows. Also the yield, the concentrates is fed to yield, and so that is under control as well. And also the activity levels, so we know which cows are bulling, which cows to serve. We don't have any silent heats because they all, you know, that is helping our calving interval. And also the lying down time, which is something we're targeting now, to look at more comfortable cubicles so we can get them to lie down longer. I wish I'd have put it in 10 years ago. I'm spending a lot of time with the cows. I love being with my cows anyhow, and I think that's the most important thing. You've got to love your cows. It's not a substitute for not being with the cows, but it's enabled me to look after the cows better. It's enabled me to have more fun out of looking after the cows, and it's enabled me to have, you know, I'm not tied to milking twice a day, but I am tied to the cows with the robots, like, you know.